Listen, campers come in here, they leave food around, the bears get the smell of it, and that's it.
Well, this is different. This bum's eating his victims.
See, he doesn't understand that we're dealing with a highly intelligent beast.
That thing seems to know what we're thinking.
Over 18 feet tall, over 2,000 pounds. The largest carnivorous ground beast in the world.
I have had it. I'm gonna bust out of here. Every day it's the same old thing. Look at the bears, look at the bears, look at the bears. Sheesh.
Welcome to Glowburn, a podcast dedicated to the Mutant Crawl Classics role-playing game.
This is a test. This is only a test.
Welcome to Glowburn, a podcast about the Mutant Crawl Classics role-playing game and old-school post-apocalyptic adventuring. I'm Judge Forrest.
I'm Judge Mark.
And I am Judge James.
And on tonight's episode, we'll be talking about the Appendix N novel, Hero's Journey. Before we do that, let's go down to the shelter.
Down in the shelter.
All right, so we're down in the shelter, and this is the part of Glowburn where we talk about the MCC, the DCC, the running the games, the writing the games, the reviewing the games, and if all else fails, just what we're doing right now, kind of hanging out on a couch, you know, on a post-apocalyptic couch with neon green cushions.
Glowing cockroaches.
Let's start this off with Mark, because he essentially has just taken all of my stuff and made it his stuff. So, Mark?
That's just because I happened to start writing the show notes first. It's not my fault. All right, so I got some MCC. So my monthly game, which I'm calling MCC Unchained, because I basically I'm telling my players, like, hey, I don't care, like, as long as I have the source material and I can look at the class that you want to play, like, you can play anything. DCC, MCC, Umerica, Starcrawl, freaking Crawling Under Broken Moon, whatever.
Lankmar.
Well, Lankmar, yeah, I might have to have a conversation about that one. Just because there's, mechanics and stuff that might not interact. We played 2 sessions since we last recorded, which is how I know that it's been forever since we last recorded.
Well, no, that we actually successfully got together is the thing.
Yeah, twice.
Yeah.
So we had a 3-player back in early January, which was kind of short and sweet. The players were confounded by a piece of rubble that had a device in it, and when they finally got it out, they screwed up their artifact check and sent it flying into the atmosphere, never to be seen again, which I thought was just the most delightful thing ever, because that took the better part of like 90 minutes.
To infinity and beyond.
Exactly. And then they went exploring and got ambushed by spider goats. Which I think I have a new favorite creature from the MCC book. And then the most recent one, which was, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, we actually got a good group. I think we had 5 people. We did a pure exploration. There was no combat at all. There were some hazards, but nothing of a specifically combat nature. And at the end of the session, we finally are at a place where I can kick off Warlords of Atos next month, or this month, or whenever the next game is. Jim's Purple Planet game, I'm going to let him talk about that.
What?
Yeah, I'm going to let you talk about that.
I didn't plan on talking about it. It was yours. You ate up all the show notes.
Dude, I get there first. It's not my fault.
Oh, I'm going to say Purple Planet. I'll say it here.
Go ahead.
I'm going to interject my stuff into your stuff.
Beautiful.
Okay? It's just stuff going into other stuff here. All right?
Works for me.
So all I'm going to say is that that was a damn fun box set.
Yes. That was worth every penny that you paid.
No, it seriously was. I paid the hard way because it didn't kickstart it, so I had to buy the box set Gen Con, I think 2016 or 2015.
Ooh.
I think it was 2015. I remember right when it came out, and it was whatever Gen Con it was, where it was first out, that's when I got it.
Nice.
So 15 or 16, and then I had to buy the PDF separately because I needed it for the game.
Mm-hmm.
And in A Year in the Purple Planet, I've got a giant Purple Planet poster mural above my headboard in my bedroom. So I guess think on that.
No thanks.
Yeah, no, I'm good, thanks.
Or don't.
Yeah. Next bullet point.
Make your comments, Mark.
Yeah, I gotta say, we definitely got Jim's money's worth out of that one. I think we got 14 sessions out of Purple Planet, and
Something like that.
At the end, we were like full-on warlords. We had our own band that was marauding across the wasteland until we decided to tangle with the Mother Orm. And much to our own surprise, because we decided, yeah, let's actually fight this thing, we succeeded.
Wow.
Pretty much entirely due to magic, because the cleric and the wizard both threw out some really high-level spell results that kind of stopped it in its tracks like it was nothing.
Yeah, the two things that worked out best for that, at least my favorite two things of the entire experience. First off was, I know full well, having read the entire box set, cover to cover, and every associated module that could have been run with it. There's a couple that come that you can, buy that are separate purchases. And then there's Neon Knights, which is kind of connected as well. Mm-hmm. I know that if I ran the adventure, the hex crawl again, there's no guarantee it would play out anything like the first time. It's so random, and it's so much fun. And if you haven't tried the Purple Planet, you need to try it. Just go give it a shot. But my second favorite thing what was cool was I have the playtest rules for the Warlords of the Purple Planet demo that Harley Stroh has run at several Gen Cons and Gary Cons. And by injecting those rules into the end of this, it was pretty damn sweet.
That's intended to be a board game, right?
It is. It's going to be a board game, kind of a board game with a GM, although I think you can play it GM-less. Although it is kind of fun having a GM announce what's happening.
Yeah.
This was a good time.
Cool. Yeah. And then we were talking about where to go next and decided instead to kick off a Lankmar game, which I'm super excited because in my 25 years, I've never done more than maybe 3 sessions of any game that was explicitly set as a city game. They always fall apart. This group that we've got, though, is pretty darn good, and we've got, 3 years worth of history at this point?
Yeah.
So I feel like we have a really good shot of making this thing work, so I'm super excited about that.
3 years of Gonzo history, so what'll be challenging, I think, as a group is changing the dynamic to not be bizarre and not go off the rails to the silly, which is partially my fault. But I personally think, and I'm going to go out on a limb and say this, I know we're not the Spellburn show, but DCC Lankmar may be my favorite iteration of DCC so far. Ooh. I think the Benizin and Doom system is tight. I think it adds some really great flavor while keeping things random. Mm-hmm. And it was an absolute pleasure to read.
I would agree. We haven't played more than one session, and I played a couple of con games, but I really like how you have 3 core classes, the fighter, the thief, and the wizard. But those Benizins and Dooms can really kind of make that into any number of characters. I mean, we got 6 guys to the last session. We had 2 thieves, 2 wizards, 2 warriors, and nobody felt similar. So that was pretty awesome. And then let's see here, my GaryCon freebie, which, if you're listening to this, then you probably have already seen it online. But F is also for Futhark, is going to be a freebie handout for people at GaryCon. You just need to, come up and ask and, maybe share some kind words, and I'll give you a copy. And it is the 24 Elder Futhark runes as magic runes for DCC.
Are you going to take that to the cultural exchange?
I'm going to have copies pretty much on me whenever I have time. Yeah.
I was thinking you'll probably get a lot of play there.
Yeah. I was handing them out starting on Wednesday last year when I did the D for disapproval, C for corruption. So, and then anything that survives, because I had 100 printed up, anything that doesn't go at GaryCon will come to Gen Con with me. And I have been poking away at the compiled and expanded Alphabet of Outer Beings with the goal of getting it to print this year. Man, I don't know the process, and it feels like a very daunting hurdle at the moment. I haven't decided if I want to pull the trigger and like ask for somebody's help or not, or just muddle through it myself. But that's kind of my big thing at the moment. Jim, anything that I didn't already cover because apparently I stole all of your thunder?
Quite a bit. Not too much, but quite a bit. Yeah, so you definitely covered my DCC stuff. I've spoken about Dark Sun on this show before, and the Dark Sun bug has bit me again. You know, recently I got some new glasses, which made it easier for me to read like up close. So I would read a book called Hero's Journey. That's for tonight. And instead I started rereading the Prism Pentad for Dark Sun. So I have been reading, just not the right stuff. And I love Dark Sun. And I've been kind of cooking around some ideas of making Dark Sun, bring it back to the table. Of course, I kind of went with a different system, not DCC, to do that. So I'm Savage Worldsing Dark Sun right now. So despite my love for DCC, I'm just not sure it's the best system for Dark Sun. Really, the races class thing is what kind of busted that for me. So
I think if you gave it a go, you might be able to make it work. I think the NCC mutations are a good fit for the psychic powers. But yeah, I do get what you're saying with the races class thing, and that would be a big chunk of work. So I understand.
You'd have to break races class essentially for DCC, I think, because like for Thri-Kreen, my favorite character race in Dark Sun, I've had Thri-Kreen Rangers, Thri-Kreen Gladiators, Thri-Kreen Psionicists at my table, multi-class Thri-Kreen. The idea of saying, well, you're going to be a Thri-Kreen, you're just a bug. I don't know, it's tough for me.
Yeah.
I actually was on Facebook earlier today, and I have a Google Doc out there. Unfortunately, it's going to be a personal thing for me where I'm putting it together. Some friends are going to help me with it. We're going to have it just for ourselves. And maybe at a con game in the future. You never know. And then, again, since Mark ate up my DCC stuff, I do have something published, which I'll pimp on the show, even though it's nothing to do with DCC or FCC. But I have a Savage Worlds module called An Unexpected Wedding that is currently for sale on DriveThruRPG. It was the very first of the Savage Worlds Adventurers Guild, the swag program. It was their very first swag item. And I'm very proud because, first off, I was able to inject a little DCC love over there by my cover artist is none other than Todd McGowan, who is an awesome artist who has done work for other DCC modules, such as Carnival of the Damned, especially. So I'm glad that I was able to kind of secure Todd for the cover. And it's a fun adventure because it is something where the entire plot is generated randomly at the beginning of the game. The players inject points about the adventure, like, you know, words. It's like a fill-in-the-blank style adventure, and the GM doesn't know the complete plot until they run it. And I will say, even though it's Savage Worlds, I still keep the rules light. So if you have an MCC campaign or a DCC campaign or an AD&D 2nd edition campaign in friggin' Faerun because you're still playing Forgotten Realms, you could work it in to your game. I've run it with both Deadlands and Last Parsec, which is a sci-fi setting. So I got something on the market too. Now I'm pimping my own swag.
That's cool. It's very cool.
Forrest, give us your spiel.
All right. So let's see. In Mark's MCC campaign, Pierre Tramp, my character, is still alive, surprisingly. I don't know how long that's going to last, but I have plans for the next character already, just in case. I discovered that spider goats are really scary, and I don't like them a lot. So,
was it the webbing or the paralysis poison?
Well, the paralysis poison didn't affect me. I made my save on that, I think. Just the thought of spider goats. It's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
It's the milk and silk thing. It's just wrong. That really just didn't do it for me. So, yeah, I'll never look at goat cheese the same again.
Okay. Oh, man. All right. Fair enough.
God.
I'm from Wisconsin. I have to mention cheese, right?
Yeah, I think that is a requirement. That is a requirement.
Yeah. That's my. If I don't do that, they'll send me to Illinois.
Ew.
Nobody wants to go to Illinois.
That's rough.
Sorry, our Illinois listeners.
We love you.
Most of you, except for Hobbs. Hobbs knows how I feel about Illinois. But anyway, let's see. Another news, the AD&D 2E Greyhawk campaign, not Forgotten Realms, is still going. Return to the Tomb of Horrors is filled with traps that are absolutely terrifying to my 15th level thief.
15th level?
Think about that for a second. I mean, the guy can do just about anything, and yet, I don't know, he's terrified every time he turns a corner. Somebody says, go check that door. I'm like, I don't know if I really want to.
Well, it is the Tomb of Horrors.
It's the Return to the Tomb of Horrors, so it's even worse. Trust me, it's worse. I never thought I'd be saying that, but no, it is worse.
Oy.
When I was a kid, when I was like 12 years old, 10 years old, you'd make up like 12th level characters, but you'd just make them up, right? You wouldn't build them from first level necessarily. And this is the first time I've actually gotten a character from first level to 15th straight through in one campaign, one continuous campaign. It's the first time I've ever been able to do it.
Really?
Yeah.
I've had it one time also, and only one time. I had a gnome mage that went that far, and that's it. But not 15th.
Now, I've gone to 14th level once before, but this is the first time I made it to 15th. But the cool thing is we have a mage in the party, and we have a cleric in the party, and then a couple thieves, and what else do we have there? Another fighter. Yeah, the elven fighter. But anyway, it's really cool to see the magic at the high levels because there are all these cool spells that, you read about in the player's handbook, and you're like, oh, that looks really cool. But I don't know. I guess I think of it in terms of I'm a first level character looking up at these massively cool spells, and man, those are powerful. But until you see them in action, like in a game, it's kind of abstract. So it's really cool to see it in the flesh, so to speak. And it's kind of a testament to me about what Gygax and company did with that system, that it actually works at a higher level. It doesn't break necessarily. I think it breaks if you jump straight up there without the progression, over time. But there's something about that building up a campaign over time that is just kind of cool, just kind of beautiful. Anyway, and the other thing is I didn't expect the tension to ratchet up as high as it has either. I thought I was done with that sort of thing back when I hit like 4th level, but apparently not.
So what you're saying is there's still credible threats even to a 15th level character?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, no, like I said, my thief he gets his lockpicks and he's like, I really don't want to be doing this right now. But he does. And he hasn't died. Well, no, he has died, but he came back. But that's a different story.
That's just D&D.
It's D&D, yeah. Speaking of D&D, I've been studying up on Athos, on Dark Sun. And I haven't read the novels yet, but I will.
Start. They're great.
I will. But I have been listening to what's called the Bone, Stone, and Obsidian podcast, and they're interviewing like Troy Deming.
What?
Oh, yeah. I just listened to the interview with him today. It's a really good podcast. It just goes over kind of the general ecology of Athos and digs into a lot of the history of how the game was made, what the designers were thinking, some of the political stuff that happened in TSR that caused it to stop. And it's just really, really been intriguing. I've really enjoyed it. So I've got to give a shout out.
I'm downloading that. Holy crap.
Yeah, Bone, Stone, and Obsidian. I think they've got about maybe 10 episodes out now.
Now I'm starting to get jealous. I'm going to be the only one who wasn't playing any Dark Sun.
I'm going to be playtesting some crap online, man, so I'll pull you in, dude.
All right.
Maybe I'll play a Dark Sun halfling in the MCC campaign.
I'll hook you up.
That means I'm going to eat everybody.
Dude, if you want to play a cannibalistic halfling, we can make that shit happen.
I will be eating everybody. I don't know what these rations are you're talking about.
I might even be willing to give you one random mutation as a psychic power.
Let's see, what else? I'm prepping up for things at GaryCon, a couple of things. The Tower of the Flower of Power, which is going to be a thing. Crawling Under a Broken Moon thing.
I am looking forward to that.
Yeah, I noticed you signed up. We got a great group for that. I'm really excited.
Yes.
Some good players in there. And also, I had mentioned on this podcast a few times, last year at GaryCon, I was in a game called Gatsby and the Great Race, a Call of Cthulhu adventure that took place at 5 different tables with extra-dimensional swapping and people being possessed by others.
I remember this.
I am helping to run that at GaryCon.
Ooh.
I am helping to play that.
You are in there. I saw that. And Hector's in there, too.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Anyway, so, yeah, Gatsby and the Great Race. I'm really excited about this. System notwithstanding, it is the best role-playing experience I have had, period. Bar none.
Looking forward to it.
It's amazing. So, anyway. But the thing is, that's actually it's taken a lot of my time. prepping for this thing is not easy. And I'm not even going to be one of the table keepers. I'm going to be one of the ones that wanders between the tables. But yeah. Anyway, exciting stuff. I keep writing on Umerica Unnatural. That's going pretty well. Coming along nicely now. I'm finally hitting my writing groove with that. Also, in DCC news, just the other night, actually, it was just 2 nights ago, I introduced the children of a couple that my wife and I are friends with to DCC. All we did was roll up characters, and they're a bunch of really pathetic. No, actually, one was a really good 0 level. The rest were all pathetic. And I told the young girl who rolled the really good one, he's going to die first, probably. So yeah, her younger brother, he's about 10 years old, and he's like, oh, I've got this really pathetic character. And he was pathetic. I mean, he had negatives all over him. But I was like, you know what? It's okay. He could be a hero. You just have to wait and see. So anyway, I'll start killing them pretty soon. Nice. The characters, not the kids.
Nice. Yeah, I feel like there's are you familiar with the Pareto rule? So the Pareto rule is like 80% of your problems come from 20% of your problem sources. Yeah, you do your Pareto analysis. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I feel like when it comes to the 0 levels, it's like 80% of the character deaths are the top 20% in terms of like good level 0 characters. It's like the guys with the bonuses are the ones who die first. Well, the girl I mentioned too, I said, she started naming her characters after her friends. Oh, no. Not good. I was like, I'll call her B. I was like, B, your friends are going to die. And she's like, that's okay. I'll tell them. It'll be good. That's great. I'll tell them. That's it'll great. Be good. Yeah. Nice. So that's it for me. Excellent. Shall we move on to the voices of the Ancient Ones? Let's go to the voices.
Voices of the Ancient Ones.
Welcome to Voices of the Ancient Ones. This is where we give you folks, our amazing community of Glowburn listeners, the opportunity to feed back to us, contribute to the show, send in your questions, your comments, your glowing words of wisdom. First of all, we have a transmission from beyond time itself. Forrest, can you read what this says? I can. Let's state up front. This is from some strange person who I've never heard of named DM Kojo. Okay, I've heard of him. Oh my gosh. Kojo! Yes, we have Kojo mail. This is good. Greetings, burners of the glow. I really enjoyed episode number 20 where you reviewed the current MCC adventures. I also enjoyed Michael Bolam as a guest. So did we. His insight into the early playtest was fascinating to hear. You mentioned that none of you had run Michael Curtis's MCC number 3. That's how it's spelled. Michael Curtis. MCC number 3, Incursion of the Ultra Dimension. So I thought I would share a spoiler-free review of my experience running it. Like all of Michael's adventures that I have run, I really enjoyed this one. I would have to say that it is my second favorite behind Frozen in Time for DCC, which also could make a cool MCC adventure. Agreed. Definitely. Yes, it could. I ran this for my middle school gaming club. The kids used DCC characters that had been time-shifted to the future at the end of their previous adventure, and it was a near seamless conversion to run it for DCC characters. The module starts with a great intro to what the world of Terra AD is like, giving the players a feel for what the primitive culture is like. After the initial encounter, the adventure really ramps it up as the players search for the source of a major threat to their village. This journey takes the party to a pre-disaster facility where they encounter many strange creatures and interact with the Ultraverse in interesting ways. The endgame is a lot of fun as the PCs try to find a way to stop the incursion and save their village. I highly recommend this module. It really is fantastic. Thanks, DM Kojo. Aw. Yeah, thank you, Kojo. Yeah. I meant to put this one into the campaign. In fact, I actually seeded it on the hex map. You guys just haven't found it yet, and at this rate, I don't know if you will, or at least if you'll find it before it becomes a trivial task for your advanced characters. I don't know. We'll see. Well, that's okay. We need some mop-up duty here and there. Yeah, we'll see. I haven't played it, and I'm not going to read it because I want this to be a surprise for player Forrest. There you go. Yeah. Jim? All I'm going to say with the Ultra Dimension is if the Ultra Dimension is anything like the Ultraverse, right, is anything like the Underverse from Chronicles of Riddick,
it's gonna be pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool.
I don't own it. I haven't read it, but I will say that, you know, again, with DCC Lankmar and then what Chain Coffin, everything I've read so far from Michael Curtis has like blown my mind in a different way than from other DCC and MCC authors. So
yeah,
I'm just more excited to read it and run it now that DM Kojo has given it his Kojo stamp of approval.
By the way, have you guys seen what Michael Curtis is running at GaryCon?
No, I'm not going. So
it's called Weird Seas, and it's a basically William Hope Hodgson. If you do, are you familiar with him at all?
No.
Do you think I'm familiar with that? Like, you just tossed that in.
You should be.
But do you seriously think after all this time, I would have any idea who that is?
Oh my goodness! Yeah, you need to start reading these things called books, Jim. They're pretty cool.
I do. I just read the same books over and over again.
William Hope Hodgson was an author, kind of along the lines of H.P. Lovecraft, but different. More about nature and kind of the weirdness of nature. Anyway. It should be really cool. I couldn't get in because of the quote-unquote featured event thing at GaryCon, which I'm still very bitter about. But don't get me started.
We won't.
I started myself. Yeah, I better stop. So anyway, I wish I could sit in on that, but future date.
Well, maybe there'll be a no-show you can sneak in.
I think it already conflicts with something else, so because I set my schedule, you know. Oh well, whatever. But I'd love to do that because I mean, Michael. Yeah, I love reading his modules. They're just a step above.
They are.
Yeah. The only thing I know about this one, and it's not because I've read this one, because I haven't, but it has ties to Evil of the Ancients, which is the first one that came out after the initial sort of block of 8 or so. And I did run that one. And in the intro, it specifically like mentions that there is a connection between these two adventures. And so that kind of got me going, well, if the players find it, then it'll be great. But if not, then, you know, so be it. And then, of course, like 90% of the players died in that Evil of the Ancient scenario. So I don't know that the connection would be as appreciated.
Just got to stop the players from killing each other.
Why would I do something as crazy as that?
That's true. Yeah.
That is absolutely the best part of being a judge, when you can get the players to kill each other.
It's like the game creates itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's drift over this ham radio transmission from across the great ocean. I will say this. This is an email from Bruce Cunnington. I will not insult you, Bruce, with me attempting to do a British accent unless you, I guess, comment back and let us know you want me to try that for your next email. So
the question would be, which British accent? Because there are many.
I only do one. It's a horrible hodgepodge of like everything. So
it's Dick Van Dyke, isn't it?
Pretty much. It's the Dick Van Dyke of Judge James in person. All I'm going to say is this. All right, I'm going to read this normal, which is American English because it's normal. And then if someone wants you to do a crappy British accent, you have two options. One, show up at one of my games at Gen Con, where I'll definitely do it. Or two, you know, I mean, Bruce, let me know. I'll do the next one you write with a British accent, and you can make fun of me. All right. Hi, friends. I'm going to do a British accent just like Kevin Costner in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. Any chance of a mention for this year's UK Games Expo RPG games, which have just gone live? This year's event is taking place on the weekend of 31st May and 2nd June. You can already tell it's from, like, you know, across the pond, because he's putting the day in front of the month, which makes no sense. 2019 at the NEC Birmingham, UK. We have around 30 games, over 100 hours of DCC, MCC, X-Crawl, and related gaming. Once again, regular UK judges Bruce Lee, Jules, and Bruce Lee. Bruce, Lee, Jules, and Andrew will be joined by Judge Brendan LaSalle, because he gets to go everywhere. And we're really excited that Goodman Games will have a booth at the show for the first time ever. Holy crap, that's pretty cool.
It is cool.
As well as the usual 4-hour convention game sessions. Tickets available now. Bruce and Brendan will both be running 2-hour games on demand sessions on the Saturday. No pre-booking required. And we can throw the links in the show notes, but it's ukgamesexpo.co.uk. Or it's UK Game Sexpo. I mean, Games Expo is really tough.
I will put the URL in the show notes.
There you go.
Somebody didn't think that one through.
Yeah. Hope to see you in Lake Geneva in a few weeks. Cheers, Bruce Cunnington.
Wait. So Bruce is going to be a GaryCon?
Yeah. He was at GaryCon last year.
Yeah.
Was he?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
There was so many people that I didn't know.
I sat beside him at the table playing Dark Trails, man. You missed it.
I still have not played Dark Trails.
What?
Oh, you missed twice then. You didn't get to game with Bruce, and you didn't get to play Dark Trails.
Dark Trails is so sweet. It's so good.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's so good.
And yeah, rub it in. I haven't had a chance to play it.
Okay. Yep, we're just rubbing.
Yeah. But it says that David Beatty is like an incredible judge. He's like so good. He's so much fun.
Yeah, he is.
Well, like I said, eventually, one of these days. Speaking of one of these days, I have been to Ireland twice. I have not made it to Britain. I have not made it across the ever so smaller pond at that point and visited England itself. So, maybe I'll use the UK Game Expo as an excuse in some future year and go and do the convention as on either the leading or the tail end of a vacation.
I'm so afraid I would be running a game in England and then pull off a really crappy British accent at the same time. I just default into it and I would be booed.
Thankfully, I don't think I would do that.
Yes, you would be booed and called a wanker.
Well, okay. That doesn't sound that bad.
It's worse than it sounds. Yeah, I mean, I lived in England for 2.5 years, so I know all the insults. Yeah, you don't want to be called a wanker.
You can call me a wanker. It's fine.
Okay, all right. If you're an American wanker, you're a yanker.
Man, we're going down a weird path here. Anyway, let's keep going here.
So, speaking of England, I will definitely be visiting England and Wales this summer. Just bought the tickets. Actually, just the other day. But unfortunately, we're not going to have much time for gaming.
What kind of vacation is that?
Well, relaxing, kind of, get away from it all vacation.
Yeah, it's which you need to run games.
But I am going to consider it a recon mission and get back there and game someday. I mean, literally, I lived there for my teenage years when I was doing the most gaming. It was when I was living in England. So, got to get back there and hit a con.
So you're saying that you've already done way more gaming in England than either Jim or I combined?
And more than you ever will.
Oh, challenge accepted.
Unless you move there now and live there the rest of your lives. I didn't do much high school. I did a lot of gaming.
I've done a lot of gaming in Canada. I want to game with the Queen still. I think I mentioned that at one point in time. That would be great.
Should be fun.
I could see her playing the absolutely perfect Plantian.
Paladin?
No, Plantian. No, she's Plantian. Or a Manimal Corgi.
Well.
Nice.
Anyway.
Moving on.
We
have one last very brief transmission from listener Joshua Langner.
This is the best letter we've ever gotten. I'm just going to say
And he says, "Hey guys, love your podcast even though I don't play the game you're talking about." That was all he sent us, which is great. I am so glad to hear that somebody enjoys the podcast. The fact that they don't play MCC kind of makes me go, well, how'd you find the podcast? But hey, awesome.
And all I'm going to say is, dude, I don't know what I'm talking about half the time I'm on the show. So, it's all good.
Also, you should try Mutant Crawl Classics. I think you'd enjoy it. If you like our podcast, you'd probably like the game.
Yeah. Thanks, Joshua. But we don't always play the game we're talking about either.
This is also true.
Most of the time we do, but not always.
Yeah, someone had asked me, a friend of mine had asked me this week about, I don't talk much about MCC in my other social media. I tend to throw my MCC into my DCC. So I think everyone MCCs in their own way. Mark kind of is pure about his. And
he's kind of corrupted now.
He's pretty pure. You know what? He says he's corrupted, but he's not that corrupted. He's pretty pure.
My approach is just the opposite end of the spectrum from you, Jim. You have your DCC and you get your MCC in it. I have my MCC and then I get my DCC in it.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
And there you go.
I mean, heck, I got a Umerica Cyborg now because Andy made a new character. So that's been interesting because damage reduction and, multiple different hit point streams.
Yep. I like just mashing them all up.
That's the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
So. It's all good.
I mean, they all use the same rules, so it's not like there's any effort there. So,
all right. Well, I think it's time to do this book report. So let's shift over to Hero's Journey.
Mm-hmm. The Great Disaster.
It's probably going to be one.
All right.
Welcome to the Great Disaster. That sounds so happy, doesn't it?
You sound great. Like, you sound really excited.
Welcome to the Great Disaster.
All right. So disastrous. Woohoo.
Yeah, Great Disaster. We like apocalypti. All right. Today we're going to be talking about Hero's Journey, and not to steal any thunder from another podcast that reads lots of books. But we felt this being an Appendix N book that is post-apocalyptic in nature, that we should probably give it a read and run through it, because there's some pretty cool stuff that can be used at the gaming table. And I had a lot of questions when I was reading through it that I took notes on, partly because I guess I read it from the eye of, if Gygax and company use this for D&D, what did D&D steal from the book? Does that make some sense?
Yep.
So I found a few things here and there that were definitely stolen straight out of the book, and others that mutated, no pun intended, over time. Anyway, overall, I guess we should probably just do a quick synopsis, a very quick one.
Probably. So if somebody wants to read this, you probably want to get off this podcast right now, because we're definitely going to get into spoilers.
Yeah, go away.
Two of us will, because one of us didn't read it.
Yeah.
I think that's where we really differ from the other podcast that reads the... Why are we saying the other podcast? Why don't we just say Sanctum Secorum? Because all of them actually read the book.
Yeah, well, yeah, I know.
I think we'll have the more genuine elementary school book report experience, because 1/3 of the class didn't read the book.
The Sanctum's classy. They're classy. So that's why I didn't want to use their name in vain.
Yeah, last night I felt so much like... You remember that feeling when maybe you just either skimmed the book you had to do a test on for school, or you barely read it, or you just watched the movie for it? So I tried to watch the movie for it, and whenever I typed in Canadian post-apocalypse, it was just Bob and Doug McKenzie. So
yeah.
I mean, it's not the same. I was actually very disappointed. And my cover of my version has Nick Cage talking to a bear. So
mine has Borat talking to a bear.
Wait, it's probably the same cover. This is Nicolas Cage.
No, it's Sacha Baron Cohen. Definitely.
This is Nicolas Cage.
I don't know, but I have a giant friggin' lizard on the cover of mine, so clearly mine is...
How did you get a lizard on yours?
I don't know, man.
Well, I got a moose and a bear. Do you have a moose on yours, Jim?
There's definitely a moose. There's a bear looking at Nicolas Cage.
Like holding a hand up?
They're both holding their hands up, yeah.
That's Sacha Baron Cohen. That's not Nick Cage.
No, it's not.
Nicolas Cage never had a mustache that cool.
Raising Arizona.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Which, I think the next one should be Raising Arizona. We should just review that for Glowburn.
Might as well.
So, yeah, we should keep going. I'm good for the first 30. Where's the one place I have it? 36 pages. I'm good for the first 36 pages.
Yeah, and that's the thing is this, to me, this book started off really slow.
This is probably the first and the last book report you're going to hear on Glowburn. So this is going to be... Really enjoy this one, guys.
Yeah,
that's definitely the case.
Unless you review a book I've already read, which would be great because there's no work involved.
So speaking of no work,
oh boy,
let me start off by saying that I am a literature snob. I'm that guy you hate because I pick books apart. And this one at the beginning was really easy to pick apart because it was so slow.
Which is why it lost me.
It got better, though. That's the thing is if you hold on, it gets way better. Way better.
When, though? 80, 90 pages?
Oh, about page 199 or so.
That's 3 hours of reading, okay? Like, I don't have 3 hours to wash my hair in a day or 3 hours to do anything or eat.
Whereas I thought, I agreed that the first, 2 chapters or so, 60-ish pages were pretty slow. By the time I was, rounding the corner and nearing 100, I was interested in what was going on because I could see some of the foundational bits and pieces having been laid.
Yeah.
And I was interested to see where things were going. I will fully agree that the start off took a little bit too long.
Well, there was a lot of info dumps. I just don't like tons of info dumps.
There was a lot of exposition.
Yeah,
There's already a glossary for it. Do you need an info dump when there's a glossary?
That's a good question.
Which I was interested to see in the back. It says how, the author, Sterling... Is it Lanier or Lanier, or it depends on who's pronouncing it, He was involved with, he published Frank Herbert's Dune, which also
Yeah.
had an unnecessarily long glossary. So that's 2 books with unnecessarily long glossaries.
And ironically, I have not ever finished Dune, so...
Really?
And yet I've read every Dune book that Frank
Oh,
Herbert
man.
wrote because they're badass.
I've read the first one like 3
Folks
times.
getting their hands like mentally melted off in the
Uh-huh.
first 10 pages of the book. It's like, dude, Bene Gesserits show up. Your hands melted. Let's
Uh-huh.
cover Dune for the next one.
Kwisatz Haderach. I love that book. I love that book. Yeah.
Kwisatz Haderach. Yeah. Yeah. Dune's great. But there is an unnecessarily long,
That's true.
glossary.
Yeah. Well, that's because everything's in Arabic. So how many pages did you say you read, Jim? 30 something?
36.
What I did, I was telling Mark this earlier, I went through and I actually was, when I was reading, I wrote on Post-it notes, I wrote questions and stuff that I had that might be relevant to gaming and MCC in particular.
That's so brilliant.
In the first 36 pages, I only found one that really intrigued me. I'll read a little quote.
Yeah, hit us.
Okay. All right. Okay. Basically, this is an info dump about how the psychics are trained, right, by this monk-like brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
And they have these symbols that they have their own language. And it says, with only 40 symbols, the precognition markers were often obscure. But as was pointed out to every beginning student, including you reading the book apparently, if they saved your life or someone else's life even once, they were certainly worth it. Were they not? And this is what got me, this next sentence. And a good, sensitive man or woman could do a lot with them. And I thought, okay, what about an evil, sensitive man or woman? What could they do with this kind of power? And then I got to thinking about this brotherhood, right? They're training these people. They're kind of like in Star Wars with the young Jedi younglings. They're kind of brainwashing them too.
Yeah.
So I thought it might be kind of fun to do kind of a reverse adventure where, you know, you're being indoctrinated into this thing because you're really talented at what you do. You're like psychically talented, but you really don't want to be there. And they're kind of like snuffing your freedom.
Yeah.
And so you want to break free. I just thought it might be kind of a cool reverse plot hook, I guess, on that kind of idea. Because the main character, he's so altruistic throughout, which is great. It was written in 1973. Everything was happy. The hippies were everywhere. You know, it was all good. But I don't know. I read it and I start thinking insidiously, well, what if it was an evil person with these powers?
Well, and I mean, you know, later in the book, we kind of get a glimpse of what that does look like. So
Yeah, but I also thought, well, what if it's a little bit more gray, a little bit more vague? Maybe the Brotherhood is not just trying to train up good people, but they're just trying to keep the masses down. You know, like they're the man, basically, stepping on the proletariat.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that it's written, you know, it's pretty clear. Like you said, it's pretty clear that Hiero comes from this altruistic society or whatnot.
Right.
But then, you know, you read a little bit further and you get towards the end of the book and you're like, the author seems to be kind of pointing his finger at every other group in this setting as like a potential source of like moral corruption. And you're like, well, what makes Hiero and his peeps so great?
Yeah. Well, and the other thing I was thinking was, wouldn't that make an awesome 0-level funnel? Like you're being trained by this brotherhood, but then you discover that not only are they, you know, they're ostensibly they're training everybody to be these goody-goody psychic people, but what they're really doing is they're trying to control the population. And then, you know, the students get uppity, and there's your 0-level funnel, right? I don't know. I just thought it might be a fun little twist on it.
Yeah, there's something there. You know, there's a core idea there. There's some work involved to make it into a funnel, I think. But yeah.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's a lot like real work.
Yeah.
The other thing, you know, I'll say this and then I'll shut up for a little while and let you talk, Mark. But the other thing I thought of was there's the one scene where Hiero is having his mind invaded by one of the unclean, one of the leaders of the unclean.
Yep.
And it specifically says that he recites logarithmic tables.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So he's going through these logarithmic tables as this mental defense. And I thought to myself, you know, when we think of mental defense in DCC and MCC, we think of Make-A-Will save.
Yeah.
Right? But I thought, well, if you're using logarithmic tables, that has nothing to do with. It has a little bit to do with will, but kind of has something to do with intelligence.
It's almost a less an active defense of your mind, or even a passive defense of your mind, and more of like a way to divert the attacker.
Yeah, right. And I thought, would I be willing as a judge, and I probably would, if they were going to declare specifically, I'm going to recite logarithmic tables in my head so this guy can't get in my thoughts. I might make them, if they have a high intelligence, I might let them add a bonus to their will save because of their intelligence.
Yeah, I could see that.
On top of any will save, because it's like you're using a specific mechanism that has a little bit to do with the will just because your will is enacting it, but because the actual mechanic is your intelligence.
Yeah, I can see that. It's you're distracting yourself.
Right.
Or occupying your mind with trivialities to try to prevent the attacker.
Well, but the thing is, it's not triviality though. It's a logarithmic table specifically. It's not like he's just sitting there thinking about Britney Spears,
Mischosen word. Yeah, I think that makes sense. I mean, it's like doing logarithmic or multiplication tables, or just trying to recite the alphabet backwards in your brain, which is really difficult. I don't understand how the cops can use that as a sobriety test, because I can't do that when I'm sober. So it's interesting that you picked that one, because the immediate aftermath is Hiero going through this dude's stuff. Yeah. And doing like a bunch of artifact checks.
Yeah, I remember that.
And like, it's not written, obviously it's not written mechanically as an artifact check, but it very much felt like, an MCC artifact check where he was spending time looking at this thing, analyzing it, carefully playing with the levers and the knobs and the dials and whatnot. And, he figured out some of it. He didn't figure out others. And then, of course, as it turned out, like later in the book, one of the things, the sort of spear antenna thing, like he figures out other uses for it further down the line. And I thought that was really interesting, because most of the artifacts in MCC are straightforward, right? It's either it's a weapon and it shoots, or it's a healing thing and it heals. Right. Like, we don't have a lot of things that do multiple very different things. Like the device in this book, which is a spear, but also can be a telepathic antenna. Yep. And so I thought that was really interesting, where it was like, oh, you make a roll, you get a certain amount, and it's like, oh, you figure out that you can, this thing is a collapsible spear. And then later on, you're like, oh, hey, this thing also acts as this, or also does X, Y, Z. So that's going to kind of make me think about, like, some of these weapons in MCC do have multiple settings, where it's like, they can, like the phaser guns have like a 1d6, 2d6, 3d6 type of setup, and it's like, I think I might roll and determine what the setting that they learn about the first time they use the artifact on, but if they don't roll high enough, they won't know that they can change the settings, Oh,
right. Well, and another thing, too, about that is when he discovered it, after a while, it basically had a tracking device in it.
Yes.
And so he gets found out, and I thought I was thinking about that, and I was thinking, man, what if you stumble into a complex and there's a map and there are all these little dots on there, and those are actually tracking devices of stuff that is associated with that place.
Yep.
If you could figure out the map and the scale and everything, you might actually that might actually be good for a campaign.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Go find these artifacts because they're there. But the thing is, once you pick it up, somebody else might know you're there too.
Yep.
I thought that was actually really kind of a cool little trick that Lanier used, was to make it both a newfound weapon and bait.
Yes.
I thought that was really cool. I'm a big enough jerk. I do that to my players. So.
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea, and I think the fact that you could absolutely use that in a campaign. I mean, if your players were, say, had come across the gene police, in MCC, who they don't like mutants and they don't like manimals and anything. If it's not a pure strain human, they want to kill it, basically. Those gene police might have a way to track the player characters because of some artifact or artifacts that they've previously, picked up on their other adventures. And so that starts getting kind of interesting, because then it's like, well, do they abandon these because these guys are after them and they're more powerful? I mean, you'd have to make the point to make these guys more powerful. Or do they retain the useful artifacts, knowing full well the danger? Once of course they've figured it out, that's an interesting kind of conundrum for the players, because it's usually you take away their stuff because they got captured or because they run out of juice. They don't have the battery power.
Right.
It's a different story if you can make them have to go, oh, do I actually want this? Like, is it worth it? Is it worth the trouble of having these guys being able to find us?
Yeah, it's a blessing and a blight, so to speak.
Yeah.
And the other side of that too is it makes it really easy as a judge to do quote unquote wandering monsters, because they can wander right over to where you're at, if they're tuned in right. I mean, imagine you pick up something and it sends a signal out to a robot or something, and it discovers, hey, wait a minute, I haven't heard a signal in 300 years. What's that over there?
Or an enemy AI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, if your party's shaman is like a shaman of Gaia, and they find a laser sword, and all of a sudden they're getting repeatedly attacked by followers of Mangala, like,
right. Something suspicious here. Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, really, you could almost literally make that an entire adventure. Just flee from the people who are chasing you, but you got to figure out why they're chasing you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it might be something so simple as you're carrying a C cell, and it happens to be
bugged.
Yep. Yeah. I like that. That could be a lot of fun. Well, for the judge.
Well, yeah, I mean, obviously.
Which is where the fun's supposed to be, right?
I mean, if we can't enjoy the game, then, why does everybody else get to?
Right. So speaking of not enjoying things, along about page 97.
So before we get that deep.
It's like 60 pages past where I'm at.
Yeah, so Jim, did you meet the bear?
Yes.
Okay.
You did?
Yes.
See, the bear is what kind of got me, like, I was kind of like, oh no, what have I done when I started reading this? And then we get the bear. And I was like, I was good to go at that point. Like, Gorm was interestingly written. Like, it was this intelligent psychic bear.
Yeah.
Who is still very much bear. It's like not a manimal, right?
He doesn't think like a human either.
Yeah.
Part of the problem with this bear, okay, that threw me. So when I read, and maybe it's because I read at like a 4th grade reading level. All right. I'm just going to say the books I like to read, I don't know. I sort of feel like as I've gotten older, I have no patience for things like reading. Anything that has to do where I can't multitask. I love reading gaming materials. I can sit in front of a television and read everything DCC Lankmar and have no problem, because it's not like I have to keep track of anything going on. And if I want to read something that's like a story, I read a graphic novel because I need pictures, because I'm like a 4-year-old, all right? So here's the thing with Gorm, all right? My problem with Gorm. There used to be these Redwall books. Ever see the Redwall books?
Oh, yeah.
All right. So whoever the author was for the Redwall books decided to write that crap phonetically whenever someone was talking in an accent.
Brian Jakes.
And it shut me down. Yeah, that bro, I couldn't get past the first book I read, because he would start writing crap phonetically, and my brain stops braining at that point. So let's go to page 14, which is whereabouts I lost this book, and at that point was like, I'm not going to keep going. Follow Gorm, walk hard ground, quietly, not leave mark, came the thought. Following it, there came one more. Not speak, watch, a parentheses, me, end parentheses, only, others listen, parentheses 4, end parentheses, speak, danger. Look, this reads like an Excel equation I'm creating to do some kind of report for work. I don't want to do parentheses. Why am I reading this? Oh, I'm on Glowburn. That was what was going through my brain on page 14. I was probably in the bathroom at the time. I had nothing better to do, but I don't know. That's so yeah. So Gorm, the bear. If the bear, I don't know why the bear talks in parentheses. He's not trying to solve an equation. He doesn't need to talk in parentheses. Have the friggin' bear talk.
He literally does that for like maybe the first 10 pages that he's in the story, dude.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. You know what? It only takes 10 pages for me. All right. You gotta sell me in media res my ass. Like, just like bring me into the action. Don't spend 60 pages walking and being polite. That's Canada. I've been there. It's exactly what it's like up there.
I mean, if that was the problem, Jim, you should have just like skipped ahead to page like 150 and started reading in the middle.
I can't skip ahead. Why would I skip ahead? I'd miss something important. Like,
because in media res,
comma, parentheses.
There was a lot of walking and being nice, though. I have to agree.
The beginning of the book is definitely on the slow side.
Look, I did my time reading a book about walking. It was called The Stand. It was 300 pages of walking, and then another 300 pages of walking. In the middle, there was nothing going on. I read like 1,300 pages of that crap. I did my time.
Did you read The Road?
And I watched the movie.
No, you gotta read the book.
Why? I know what happens. I watched the movie.
Because Liam Neeson is a terrible actor.
Liam Neeson wasn't in The Roads. I don't know what you were watching.
Wasn't he?
No.
No, that was Viggo.
No, it was Viggo Mortensen. No, you were watching Taken. Okay, just be honest.
Oh, Viggo, that's right. Yeah, whatever. They look the same.
They're not the same. What are you talking about?
They look the same.
Liam Neeson has a certain set of skills.
No, they're totally the same.
Viggo Mortensen says nothing in all 3 Lord of the Rings movies. You know, so that's them. The same. I don't know what to say.
Like Sacha Baron Cohen and Nick Cage, they look the same.
That is the same person.
So anyway, I actually liked how when he first met the bear, like the bear couldn't speak properly, and then it got better over time. I actually liked that, Jim. I'm sorry, but I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum there.
I agree.
And I also really appreciated the fact that the bear acted like a bear. Like, it wasn't walking around on 2 legs. It didn't have prehensile hands. Like, it basically was like it would hang out, and every time like the human was doing boring human things, the bear was like, I'm going to take a nap, you know, or I'm going to go and like, you know, forage for some berries or whatnot.
No, it totally fits. There's a walking bear and a guy riding a moose across Canada. I mean, that's like
a morse.
I'm going to write a post-apocalyptic Philadelphia story where a guy's riding a Wawa hoagie drinking water on his way to the Springfield Mall. All right? That's what I'm going to write.
If there was a soundtrack to this, it'd be Rush and Bryan Adams.
In Philadelphia? No, it wouldn't.
No. I'm talking about the Canada thing. It'd be Rush and Bryan Adams.
Oh, yeah, that's fine.
I can't get that out of my head now.
Which Rush and Bryan Adams or a guy riding a hoagie?
Both.
You're welcome.
Well, if you want to see that, come play Dungeon Battle Delco at Gen Con 2019, where I'll be probably wearing a Eagles jersey.
The best part, Jim, is that you could still call that movie, at least here in the Northeast, Hero's Journey. Because there's other parts of the country they're like, what are you talking about? That's a grinder.
That's true.
There's a variant that takes place at a Greek restaurant called Hero's Journey. So
I wonder if the Brinkmans have put a hit out on this yet.
Probably.
I can only imagine the hate mail we're going to get from Bob if he listens to this.
I can't wait. Oh, God.
Alienating all of our Canadian listeners.
Bob Brinkman's not Canadian. He's Floridian.
Well, I know. I'm just saying that we are also alienating all our Canadian listeners. All one of them.
All of our post-apocalypse Canadian listeners.
We have more than one Canadian. Listen, if you're a Canadian listener listening to Glowburn, please write to us.
Yeah. You can be mad if you want, but you don't have to be.
But we know you'll be polite in your madness. So.
The least you can do is call us hosers, because that's just so Canadian.
Yeah.
And so cool.
All right. So Forrest and I liked the bear. Jim, not so much.
Yeah, I like the bear.
Where does Martin Short show up? When does that happen?
Not at all.
Man.
Yep. Sorry. No Alex Trebek. No Martin Short.
No Steve Martin.
No Ryan Reynolds.
Not there.
No Jim Carrey.
Nope.
Nope.
None of those things.
No Jim Carrey.
There are bald clones, or at least it's sort of implied that they're clones.
Yeah.
It's also implied they're bald.
There's what clearly, at least in my mind, clearly is the originating source for D&D like slimes.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Psionic slime, no less.
Yes.
Yeah, that one really stuck out because I always wondered where that came from.
Yeah.
I was always curious about why certain slimes and molds had psionic powers in AD&D First Edition, and now I know. Straight out of the book.
I always just assumed that fridge had lost power or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that's there. And so, yeah, we'll jump way forward here. And this is a pretty big spoiler, folks, but
Spoilers.
towards the end of the book, there's a forest that's filled with essentially dryads.
Yeah. Although they could be plantients of a weird nature.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on whether or not you're looking at this from a DCC or an MCC standpoint. But I mean, I would say that they're plantients, but they're effectively dryads. They're all women, and they're vaguely humanoid. But they're at war with what basically amounts to funguses. Fungi?
It's basically a yellow mold surrounded by fungi. Yes.
Fungi. Yeah.
Fungi.
Part of me really thought that was cool, and part of me was like, why are, mushrooms and funguses and whatnot always evil?
Well, because have you ever had them in your basement?
Well, no, thank the gods, but...
They're totally evil.
But I mean, like, mushrooms and molds and fungi and whatnot, like, they do a very specific thing within the environment that plants and bugs and animals can't do.
Yeah, evil things.
Like, they break stuff down that other creatures can't break down. Otherwise, we'd just be like, living on top of like thousands of years of fallen plant matter, because the lignin in trees is not edible by any other creature on Earth.
Insects do the same thing, and I was reading today that 40% of all insects are going to die because of global warming. So
yeah,
so it's similar.
Which explains why MCC doesn't have any insect people
yet.
It also kind of like ruins my the what I heard once upon a time, that like after the apocalypse, all that'll exist will be cockroaches and share. So.
Well, it said 40% of insects, right? So
this is true. 60% of insects will be alive and share.
Yes, and those 60% are all cockroaches.
60% of share will be here. I'm sorry, Mark, keep going.
No, it's fine. So I thought that was really interesting, like sort of the weird fungal intelligence and all that. I just was a little kind of annoyed by the fact that it was immediately painted as evil just because of the way that it was sort of interacting with the environment.
Oh, it's because it's gross.
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it.
People think gross and they think evil. It's just automatic.
I think if this book were not, 45, 50 years old, whatever it is.
It's not 50 years old because I'm not 50 yet.
Well, whatever. I don't remember what year it came out. Jeez, let me open it in
73.
All right, so it's 45 years old.
I'm looking now, and now it is 73.
46, actually. 46 years old. So I feel like a book of this nature that was written in the present day, like it would be a little bit more balanced and perhaps scientifically informed, That's all I'm kind of getting at.
Yeah.
Like, it just kind of irritates me. It's part of the book that really shows its age, especially, and that stands out to me because, like, the titular hero, pun intended, is basically a Native American. Mm-hmm. The girl damsel, who's more or less useless until the end of the book, she's African American. Mm-hmm. The old dude that they ally with is sort of implied to be, I felt like he was also implied to be African American, but I could be wrong about that. Maybe that was just the way that I read it. I don't know.
The 11er, you mean?
Yeah, the 11er.
I don't know.
I kind of got the impression that he was also African American. And I thought that was actually kind of interesting because basically it left all of the white people, the unclean, were the white people in the book. And I was like, well, that's really progressive for a 1970s book.
Yeah, that's one thing that really surprised me. And despite the sometimes E.E. Doc Smith gore levels of misogyny, honestly, for 1973, it was pretty tame that way. And
yeah.
You could, it is of its time. I totally agree with you. But I think
absolutely,
as far as being of its time, it was pretty darn progressive.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And that kind of surprised me. I wasn't expecting that at all.
The author is from New York, so
that makes a lot of sense then.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I checked it to see he's either New Yorker or he's Canadian, and he's definitely not. Yeah.
Same difference.
What? Wait, what? That's not true because Canadians are polite.
It's like Viggo Mortensen and Liam Neeson. Same
oh,
thing.
Boy.
It's not the same thing. Viggo Mortensen's a whole other animal.
So, anyway, So what else did you have notes on, Forrest?
One thing I did note was the 11ers. So I both loved and hated them because I hated the way that they were used as a plot device.
Yes.
Because, I mean, if there was a Deus Ex Machina ever, it was this. It was like God in the machine, and the 11er came out of nowhere and saved the day.
In a rowboat, no less.
God, that was pathetic. I didn't like that.
I mean, a Deus Ex Machina in a rowboat. I mean...
Yeah, I did not like that. But I did like them enough that I actually marked the paragraph. So here, there's one paragraph that describes it. I'll read it. I'll try to be quick. So the 11ers, the mysterious followers of the so-called 11th commandment, were a group of wandering men whose little-known order dated back to the death itself and perhaps even before. They wore simple clothes of brown cloth, were strict vegetarians, and carried no weapons beyond a belt knife and a wooden staff. They seldom appeared in groups and indeed were usually alone. They wandered from place to place, harming no one, occasionally doing some work for keep. That's not true. They did harm people. Occasionally doing some work for keep, teaching children their letters or watching flocks. They were skilled physicians and always ready to help the sick and injured. They hated the works of the unclean, but sought no trouble with anyone unless actually attacked. They had strange powers over animals, and even the lemutes usually avoided them. Lemutes are the corrupted mutants that you just go hard. Part of the reason that I got so excited about that, about those guys, is that in one of the things I'm writing, or have written actually for American Unnatural, is they're basically 11ers. It's a class.
Oh, cool.
It's basically 11ers. Yeah. I started working on that before I read the book. And so I got to this point in the book, I'm like, oh, wait, holy cow, that's serendipitous.
I mean, they're basically druids. They're post-apocalyptic druids.
Yeah. They're psychic druids.
Yep.
They're psychic druids, and that's precisely one of the subclasses that I'm writing for the American Unnatural.
Nice.
Yeah, I was pretty excited about that, pretty jazzed. But I just don't like the way that the one in particular was introduced. It was just hokey.
It could have been worse because at least the 11ers had been foreshadowed and mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was like, okay, the heroes are going to get captured now. They're screwed. Oh, wait, what? And then, yeah, to your point, that they say that they're not supposed to hurt people, but you said that they do. Well, technically, if you want to get into the sort of moral gray here, that dude kept his hands clean by having animals do his dirty work.
That's true. That is true.
So Jim, this guy would like telepathically command these like giant birds or giant fish or other creatures to like basically go on rampages and kill people for him.
Yeah, or like stomp their fires out.
Yep.
There's like this giant rhinoceros type thing.
He would tell fish to stomp out fires?
No, those gigantic rhinoceros.
Why were there rhinos in Canada?
I thought it was supposed to be more like a giant wild boar. But
maybe that was it.
I mean, maybe a wild boar and a zoo rhinoceros like had a romantic fling.
I mean, it would make sense if it was like, what was that movie, the 12 Monkeys, where like you had the zoos that opened up and had things running around. So that would make sense.
I mean, I assume that happened in after the death.
It happened in 2009.
Yeah, there you go.
Probably happened in Chernobyl.
Ooh,
Chernobyl's fun.
Too soon.
Too soon. On Chernobyl.
Still?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
right.
you say so.
Well.
So yeah, conceptually, I agree. I thought they were very interesting. That introduction was a bit much. And then, like, despite the dude's, age and experience, like, a lot of the time, he felt like he was playing catch-up with Hiero because there is definitely the Mary Sue factor on Hiero. And that was sort of a negative for me towards the end of the book, was like, geez, this guy just keeps on getting amazing.
Yeah.
It's like, there's no end to my amazing.
His GM just didn't stop giving him XP, that's all.
That's pretty much it. Well, he just kept discovering how much more amazing he was.
Yeah, it's like, I invented a new psychic power. Like, what?
I did have actually one thing about that specifically. Okay.
Spoilers.
So there's a scene where he's been captured, spoiler, by the unclean, and he's discovering this new
bandwidth.
Call it like a psychic bandwidth. Yeah, different bandwidth, like a lower bandwidth that the other psionicists don't know about.
There's AM, there's FM, and there's PM.
Right. So he's snuck his way into the brain of one of the bad guys. Let's see, where is that? Okay, here. Now let's read this. So it says, as slowly as a person with poor sight threads a needle, Hiero began to use his new channel of observation to tap the adept's links with the machine. So there was this unclean adept who was linked up with this machine that amplified his telepathic abilities. So basically, Hiero's in his head. The experience was uncanny. Through the machine, he began to feel the mind of the adept beating remorselessly on his own, Hiero's, mental barrier. A feeling of intense heat began to overcome him, and he withdrew again hastily. This sort of circular mental polarity was obviously not without danger. It was not necessary to kill himself to test his new powers, and what he had just tried was something that obviously needed lots of lab work first. So anyway, I thought that the psychic feedback loop was really cool. You could even do that with magic, where you cast a spell and there's like a backlash.
Like feedback. Yeah.
Right. I just thought that was kind of a cool concept. That might be a cool way to, how do I want to put this? You don't want to necessarily limit the players and what they're doing, but to give them something to think about. It's like, sure, you can cast whatever this is, or you can use this psionic power or this mental mutation, but there's a residual backlash that's going to come, and it could be good or bad, or it could be bad or worse, I suppose.
From the magic standpoint, I feel like the one thing that I've never done in DCC at any table, regardless of the GM or anything, I've never seen a spell duel happen.
Right.
I feel like that's because those rules are a little bit complicated.
Yeah, they are.
But that idea of sort of the phlogistomic disturbance, you could probably adapt that into sort of a feedback mechanism.
Right. I think, now that I think about it, I think Reed Sanfilippo's Mind Games, I think, because there's a thing in there about psionic duels, and I think there's possibility of backlash during that as well.
Yes.
I think.
Yeah, if memory serves, there was.
If not, I'm going to write it into America Unnatural.
Nice.
Because that's got to be a thing. That might already be there, though. I'd have to go back and check. Anyway, I just thought that was just kind of a cool concept,
Yeah, no, there was a lot of little things like that really kind of kept pulling me through the book. And I think that's sort of to me, that was the sort of the take home was like, all right, at the end of the day, I finished the book and I was like, well, that was a book I read. It was not a great novel. It's not something that's going to go down in history as one of the great novels of the 20th century. But from a standpoint of the genre, especially as it goes to the gaming genre, there is so much stuff in here, from little things like the character having to go through artifact checks and all of these different mutations. There was like orangutan mutants, and there was, the mold slimes and these dryad chicks and all these other things, to things like this psychic feedback and whatnot. There was all these little nuggets that kept pulling me through the book. There was plenty of times when I was like, oh, this is really not necessarily great.
Tedious.
But then there would be something that'd be like, oh, all right, that's kind of cool. And, and I would, get pulled, reading it was almost an act of research, unfortunately, for both good and bad.
Right. That's kind of how I felt too.
Yeah.
Can I share one more?
Sure, yeah. Go ahead.
This is a little tidbit that I found that I thought was really cool. And it just got me thinking about game mechanics. So Hiero is talking to Lucier, the girl, and he's trying to, basically he's telling her she wants to learn all these telepathic powers that he has. And because she wants to talk to the bear directly with its mind is her thing. And so he says to her, now listen to me carefully. The shield for your own thoughts is the most important thing you can learn, and it has to be learned first. And then the narrator says, when she wondered why, he explained that with a decent mind shield, a child could evade the grip of the most skilled adept alive, as long as the two were not either very close physically to one another or linked by an emotional bond of some kind. And that last part really struck me, because I was thinking about a campaign, right? If you're in a campaign, players, you guys are, how long has your campaign been going? 3 years, you said?
About, yeah.
So if you, let's say if you had characters, in that same campaign.
3 years on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
Right. So in game time, that's a lot longer than 3 years, probably, I'm guessing, because you have downtime in between. But anyway, you've got these characters that are bonding with each other, and there's never any mechanical reward for that. There never is. You develop strategies and stuff and whatnot, but there's never any mechanical reward. And I thought, why shouldn't a party that's been together, let's say for 2 levels, let's say they start at first level, they go to 3rd level together. Let's presume none of them die or few of them die. why don't you give that party extra points on their initiative when they're
Like a teamwork bonus.
Right. They know how to work together.
Yeah.
They've been doing it for years.
But they do work together.
No, but there's no mechanical bonus to it.
Sure there is.
What?
That they know what the other players' characters' like abilities are and stuff.
I don't know. I think they should get some kind of a mechanical bonus. I mean, it's a team that works together, right? We don't reward that. I don't think.
I think to your point, Forrest, if you've got a campaign going and all the players, and as a GM, like for the MCC game, like I try to make sure that I introduce NPCs that you guys can recruit. So there's always sort of like the potential to like beef up your stable of like additional player characters.
Right.
So I don't have to run a funnel, because personally as a judge, I don't actually like funnels that much.
Oh.
Yeah, don't get me started. But because of that, like in theory, if I'm doing it right, then on any given like game night, you have the choice of, do I want to play this main guy, or do I maybe want to play one of these other guys to help, bring his level up a little bit faster? And essentially you're rewarding that player for sticking with that character, and all of the other characters, players, for sticking with their characters as long as possible, as much as possible.
Right.
And I kind of see your point there. I think it could be in like a DCC MCC situation. It could be like, all right, everybody that's in your party, you've played at least, I don't know, 5 sessions with previously. Like there's no new characters. So you get to roll D24s for your initiative instead of D20s. It doesn't need to be something super, like I would definitely shy away from a flat out +1.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Using the dice chain, and as you know, I love the dice chain. Like,
yeah, no, and rightfully so.
If in the case of like Jim's campaign, like if we were all rolling with pretty much the same characters that we started the Sunken City Omnibus with, which at this point we're not, because most of them have died. But if we had succeeded in keeping them this long, maybe we're rolling like D30s for initiative or something of that nature.
There was what, 3 characters made the whole way.
I think there was 3.
It was Craig's wizard, Alex's thief,
and Soph.
And Andy's cleric. Yeah. So 50% of the party had a character, but we did kind of character trees a la Dark Sun, where everyone had multiple characters to play with.
Yep. Sure.
And my dwarf only didn't make it, or only didn't get played because he died.
It was Bellows, right?
Bellows!
Ah, Bellows was so cool.
Yeah, he died from a bear. He got mauled by a non-mutant bear.
A talking bear, a talking Canadian bear.
Growl, you hoser. Eh?
Take off, eh?
So, yeah, I mean, without really getting into further nitty and or gritty, like I feel like we've kind of hit on most of what's good and bad and indifferent in this.
I think so. I think that the lesson, I mean, for me, the lesson was, there's a lot you can derive if you just read carefully between the lines. And it doesn't have to be necessarily something as big as, psionic molds or anything like that, but just little things got me thinking about those mechanics and why we do or do not do certain things with game mechanics.
And I think just for my part, like it took me a while to finish this book. Because like Jim, I'm not the voracious reader that I was as a child. I started this in, I don't know, September. I finished this in December.
What? Never mind.
What?
You didn't finish till December?
That is correct.
I thought this was a book you picked up and read and was like, I could not put this down. The whole time I'm reading it, it's like, really? You couldn't put this down?
No. When I suggested it when we were recording in September, it was like, I was, 50 pages in, and I was enjoying it because it was illuminating certain things for me. And I was like, hey, do you guys want to do this thing? I hadn't finished it yet. I hadn't even gotten halfway through the darn thing at that point. And in fact, at one point, like Forrest had said that he finished it, and I was like, crap, I still have like 100 pages. So
I've never felt more like I was back in like the 7th grade until this exercise.
Well, I started it on September 25th and finished it on October 20th.
A book shouldn't take a month. A book should be like, I don't know. For me, a book needs to be like, it grabs you and you can't stop.
Well, I was reading like 3 other books in the meantime.
It should be like a box of macaroni and cheese. You start eating that box of like Kraft dinner and you just can't stop.
Now, I read multiple books at the same time is the problem. So that's why.
And I like to pace myself. Like, I will generally read about 10 pages a day, and that's it.
And I like pictures, which is why I was thinking about my favorite post-apocalyptic book about bears. And if you've never read the Berenstein Bears to your kids, think about it.
Well, I don't have kids, but I remember being one, and those were some of my favorite books.
Think about it. That is post-apocalyptic America or some crap like that, where every human is dead. All that's left is bears and the other 60% of all insects that survived.
And they've taken over 1950s technology, too.
That's right.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And they live in a house that's bigger on the inside somehow.
It's like Fallout, but with bears.
It's Bear Out.
I would play Bear Out so fast.
All right, gentlemen. Maybe this is a good segue into the mutagenesis.
Let's go to mutagenesis.
Mutagenesis.
Welcome to the mutagenesis. As you probably have figured out by now, we take something from media or video games or movies or a different RPG or just pull it out of our darn brains and we convert it for MCC, or maybe we just kind of talk about it. Whatever works. Yeah, this is where we make stuff up. There we go.
Just make stuff up.
Just make the crap up.
Yeah, it's the make stuff up section, folks. And Jim, what did you make up for us this month?
I didn't make up crap, but what I did bring to the table today, and this is kind of, I don't know, this is a little bittersweet. So as Mark was saying earlier, we wrapped up our Purple Planet campaign, which means we wrapped up our Purple campaign, which started with the Purple Sorcerers Sunken City Omnibus Tour, the great G. Scott, or whatever I called it. That sounds terrible. But you know, that whole campaign, right? That's what it was originally called. I had to change the name. But that was such a cool 3-year-long campaign. And I thought that I would come out with the first magic item I revealed, which is called the Stick of Smite, which in 3 years of gaming, the Stick of Smite is probably one of the more legendary magic items in the game. And even in the latter sessions, people were still wielding that stick, right? Wasn't Andy using it? Or
we were trying. It never did anything other than its basic D6 damage.
The Stick of Smite does a D6 damage +2 to hit and damage against anyone or any creature whose name begins with an R. Also against pirates, because ARG. So early in the campaign, I think there was a witch that was like just smacked a player character in the head with it, killed them instantly.
Yes.
Their name was like Randall or something, and the party revealed it's the Stick of Smite. It does extra damage against someone whose name is an R. And I remember that the party was like screaming, "Die, Rodney,"
Yep.
Which became...
That was our battle cry.
It became the battle cry of a 3-year-long campaign.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm bringing this up is not that I think you should bring the Stick of Smite into your campaigns, but for players coming into DCC or MCC for artifacts or for magic items, it can be fun sometimes just to introduce something kind of quirky into your game. Something that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like you introduce a special battery, call it a J cell, which only works in any artifact that has a name that begins with a J or something like that. And the whole idea being it gives the player characters something to try that maybe you haven't thought of as a GM or a judge or whatever, but maybe it might fit the mood during one session, you throw it in there. There's no reason why artifacts and magic items have to be super uber all powerful items. They can be something fun.
Yeah.
And of all the magic items in a 3 friggin' year long campaign, the one that for me is the most, I don't know, magical is the one that, as a GM, the one that does 2 extra hit points of damage against someone whose name begins with an R, which never happened afterwards. It was the only time.
Yeah, we would ask fairly regularly whenever we were in a combat or whatnot, any chance this guy's name starts with an R? No. Darn it. But yeah, I mean, the origin of that, where I think it was one of Andy's zeros, said something to the effect of like, how does it work? Because she presented us with this stick of smite, and he said, how does it work? And she just clubbed him over the head with it and killed him.
Wow.
Like, that just sticks with me to this day. It's 3 years later, and that's just the most funny darn thing is, how does it work? It's like, it's a stick, dude.
It just sounds kind of weird and kinky that you run around hitting somebody with a stick saying, say your name, say your name.
No, they screamed, die Rodney. It was the party's, like, every blog post ended, as always, die Rodney.
Mm-hmm.
That was the quote. I'm kind of sad that game is over a little bit still. I'm a little bit like, I don't know. It was a long running game.
We can always go back to it.
We can, but that's never the same.
Well,
it's not.
Yeah, fair.
Look at the third Mad Max movie. I mean, it just wasn't the same.
Yeah, but then the fourth Mad Max movie
was pretty epic.
Well, that was good. Yeah, but if we could have just skipped from 2 to 4, that would have been better.
Well, Mark, what do you got?
So I have, you know what? I don't remember where this idea came from. I think it was a Doctor Who episode. I don't know for sure. But anyway, so I have a question here. What happens when a tribe of survivors finds a stockpile of highly radioactive rings and decides to start wearing them as tiaras or crowns or headbands?
A Kesha video.
Radiation poisoning?
I don't know who that is, but okay.
What?
Really?
Really? I don't listen to pop music. I'm assuming that's pop music. Anyway, so basically what happens is they mutate all to heck after multiple generations, and they become what I call ratty angels. And basically, because of this mutative effect, it's actually a little bit weird. They've bred out all of the volatile genetics, and they've settled into a fairly stable mutation pattern that manifests during puberty when a ratty angel child is given their quote-unquote halo.
Nice.
All ratty angels have the wings mutation and light generation, and about 50% have another random mutation. Ratty angels are very inclined to follow the rules of their elders and consider mutants to be the true innocents of Terra AD, and will often come to the aid of a mutant who are willing to help. So these are their stats. They have initiative +5. They attack with swords on a +5, doing D8 +3 damage. They also have the light generation mutation with a +5 check bonus. They've got an AC of 15, 5d8 hit dice because, they're pretty beefy. They move 30 feet or 50 if they're flying because wings. They get 2d20 action dice. They're immune to radiation because they got a radioactive uranium ring on their head. And then their fort save is +5, their reflex is +5, and their will is +3. And if they had an alignment, it would be lawful. So that was just kind of my goofball take on, a thing.
Pretty solid.
That's cool. Do they get a bonus when they're fighting against devils? The devil insects from the MCC world?
I hadn't thought about that, but I could probably do something with that, yeah.
Yeah, if they're immune to radiation, that would be kind of cool.
Yeah. I mean, then again, like, would a giant mutated cockroach also be immune to radiation? Like, so that's also a possibility.
I'm just thinking that's where the devils live, right? Is in the super radiated lands to the north.
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think so.
Yeah. So that would be kind of like a sworn enemy. That'd be kind of cool.
You get involved in a war up north.
Like the Blood Wars from 2nd edition.
So anyway, that's what I've got. Forrest.
Cool.
What do you got for us?
Okay, so I've threatened to do this for a while, and I'm going to finally do it. So back in the day, the 1st edition AD&D, there was a book that I am very fond of called The Rogues Gallery. And anybody who played old school D&D probably knows the Rogues Gallery. It had a bunch of stats for generic NPCs in it. So you like pick a class, pick a type, and then you rolled randomly, and it would give you all their stats, strength, intelligence, wisdom, blah, 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 blah. But in the back, there was this thing called this section called personalities. In the personalities section, that is where Gary Gygax and Ernie Gygax and Luke Gygax and Alan what's his name? Hamlin. Anyway, a bunch of the other players of that original Greyhawk campaign put their characters in there. So you had their stats, you knew what their magic items were, you knew their personalities. It was really interesting and very inspiring to a young, I was 11 when that came out, maybe 12. And, I was an 11 or 12-year-old. I was no good at making a character, right? But looking at this personality section, I looked at it and I was like, wow, okay, this is how cool a character could be. So it just inspired me, and I think really a whole generation of us older gamers. So I'm hoping that informally we can start making a kind of a rogues gallery for Umerica and MCC. And so I've mentioned this character before on a podcast a few times. He or it, I think it's usually been played as a he, has played in every playtest of Killer of Giants so far. And everyone has a little different twist on this guy. But no matter who plays him, the adventure ends up pivoting around the insanity created by this character. I don't know what it is exactly, but he's always at the center of things when they go wrong. This will be available as one of the pre-gens that when I run the Tower of the Flower of Power at GaryCon. So I'm hoping somebody picks him up because I'll have a few pre-gens to choose from, but he'll be one of them. And that is he's unnamed because he's just a generic character sheet. The best name I heard Julian Burnett gave him, and I think it was Monsieur Bouverie, if I remember correctly.
You mean Monsieur? Monsieur.
Monsieur Bouverie.
Monsieur Bouverie.
Monsieur whatever.
It's French via Wisconsin.
Sure. I know German, not French. I'm not Canadian. So he's an American character, and I've got him on an American sheet. I won't go through all the details; it's going to take forever. But I'll key out the details and post them in the show notes.
I could probably link directly to the sheet if you want to put it on a Google Drive.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Good call. Yeah. He's a mutant, a very strange mutant, and I did roll this guy completely randomly. He's got a crystalline structure to his skin and everything, so he gets a couple steps of armor die. He regenerates that armor as well. He is a bovid, so basically a crystalline cow. And so he digests grass and plants. He has horns, which are useful, if you don't have weapons. The other interesting thing about him, and it just happens, again, I did this totally randomly, was the equipment that he came up with. One of which is a disposable alien plasma cutter, which people have used to varying degrees of, how do I want to put this? They've used it in creative ways, let's put it that way. And then there's the ever requisite bag of hallucinogenic mushrooms. And that, I think, is where things go horribly, horribly right.
Accurate.
And
Accurate.
Yeah. Literally every person who's played that, and then Mark, you saw this in action one time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was our bovid in that one that ended up mashing the buttons on launch mechanisms.
Second game where I died by nuclear inferno.
Yeah, and it was appropriately the bovid just tripped out on mushrooms, decided to start smashing buttons, and that happened. So anyway, we'll. Yeah, if we can put a link to him, that'd be even better.
Yeah, I think I can do that.
Okay, because the American character sheets are the best. They're really, really cool. So anyway, we'll post him up there. And, if you feel the need to, if anybody out there wants to start a rogues gallery for MCC and America, I think that would be awesome. I got other things on my plate right now, but if somebody wants to try that, man, go for it. That could be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that could be cool.
And that's it.
All right.
Wrapping up here, some MCC news. Coming soon, Mike Ferguson is preparing to take us on an adventure and recently offered a sneak peek at his upcoming MCC module, Escape from Volgor. Jim Wampler has a new Kickstarter running until March 4th for a book of artifacts for MCC. It's called Check This Artifact. At the time of this release, you may have another couple days, so go. We'll have the link in the show notes, but go on Kickstarter, check this artifact. It's something that should be definitely useful for your MCC games.
Yeah, and at the time of recording, it is funded.
Yes, within like 9 hours, I think it funded.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And Judge Forrest, you had something you want to talk about here.
I do, and it is with a bit of a sad heart that I have to announce that this is going to be my last regular episode of Glowburn.
No!
It's been fantastic. It's been a really joyful thing for me. I've really appreciated the our fans. I've appreciated you two and Bill and Hector and Bob and everybody who's been involved with the production. It's been great. I have other life things I need to take care of that are going to require a little bit more of my time. But I will definitely see people on the con circuit or online gaming, or even a few of you by snail mail. You know who you are. But especially in the cons, I will definitely be present at Gary Con and Game Hole Con each year, and Gen Con when I can. I can't do it this year because I'm going to England. Perhaps next year. I'm going to try to get out there, get down to Indianapolis for that. And speaking of cons for January to March, Mark, what are you doing here soon?
So, probably already have happened by the time this comes out, but there's a convention here in Massachusetts called Total Con. I have not been before, which, considering how long I've been living in Massachusetts, and this is 30-something years for Total Con, I have no idea how I missed this all this time. But I'm going to give it a go. I'm going on Saturday. I'm going to play a couple of games and just kind of check it out and see what's up. Maybe it'll be something I add to my yearly schedule.
Is it this Saturday coming up, the one in a week from recording?
I believe it's 2 Saturdays from now.
Okay.
Yeah. It's the 23rd, I think.
I'll be in Miami, but I wish I was able to go to that. That'd be fun.
Well, I'll keep it in mind for next year. If it's cool, I'll let you know.
Yeah.
And then, of course, hopefully this is out before Gary Con, but the first weekend of March, or the first full weekend of March, I should say, is Gary Con 2019. I think this is number 11. I will be there. I've got 2 sessions on the books of Purple Pit of the Mole Men, which might be the last time that I run it. I'm not sure. It's I've kind of taken it as far as I can development wise. I don't know if there's more legs than that, but and then I may or may not have some stuff for running off books. We'll see how things go.
I hope so.
Whom of my co-hosts will be there, I wonder?
Name rhymes with Roarist. Yes, I'll be there. And I will be running the Tower of the Flower of Power for Crawling Under a Broken Moon. Also, as a public service announcement, someone, I can't remember who, is running a Gamma World First Edition game at GaryCon, 2 sessions. I got into one of them. That doesn't happen very often. So in case you missed the cool guy boat and haven't played Gamma World First Edition yet, you can become cool. So there's that.
I did not see that. I don't know. It may have already been filled up by the time I got in there.
Could have been.
The whole exclusive events thing also kind of tosses things off.
Oh, don't. Oh, gee. Ugh.
Yeah, let's moving on. So, and then it may seem premature, but, Gen Con has already gone through badge purchasing, housing, and event submission. I will be there. I'm running 4 sessions of MCC, 2 Assault on Sky High Tower funnels, and 2 sessions of Warlords of Ataz, which I believe is the 3rd level adventure.
There we go. I knew you were on the fence of what you were running, but now you're in.
I committed. Yep.
Well, I'll be there too. So call your moms and your pop-ups. I'll be running 2 sessions of X-Crawl friggin' Dungeon Battle Delco. So if you want to experience the Philadelphia themed dungeon battle for X-Crawl, there are sessions for that. I'm running 2 sessions of Neon Knights because Purple Planet and stuff. And then if you're, outside of the DCC world or want to try something different, I'm running 2 sessions of the Unexpected Wedding, which is Savage Worlds, and that means 6 sessions of Gen Con, which is crazy.
That is nuts, dude.
I know.
That's a lot.
I mean, I'll probably end up running at least 1 or 2 games for Cypher Systems, so I'm probably just as crazy as you are, but that's still nuts.
And after hours.
Yeah, you guys are running games. I'm going to be over in Europe, so you'll be talking about castles, and I will be inside them.
England, Wales, and Austria? One of these things is not like the other.
Well, it's just across a little bit more water is all.
Well, it's true. It seems odd.
My wife lived in Austria for about 1.5 years.
Ah, okay.
So we're going to go over there. That's her part of the trip. But
Cool.
England and Wales, that's my part. But yep.
I spent a wee little bit of time in Austria when I was over in Europe a couple of years ago, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Yeah. Okay. How do we contact people? Or no, how do people contact us?
Either or. To contact you, we'll find you. To contact us, it's at Glowburn or email glowburnpodcast@gmail.com. There is the Glow blog, which is glowburn.blogspot.com. There is the ever-fading Google Plus Glowburn community, which at the time of recording, you may have a day or two with us. So get it in while you can.
So sad.
As Judge James, you can find me at I Live for Crits on Twitter if you can't find me on Google Plus because it's gone. Or livingforcrits.com, which is, at this point, I'm not blogging much, so go over there and read old crap if you want to. Mark?
You can find me on Twitters at InspStrikes, INSPSTRIKES. You can find my blog at inspstrikes.blogspot.com, although I'm blogging less lately because I'm working on other stuff. I would say Google, but I'm just saddened by the slow, pathetic demise of Google+, so I'm just going to let that go. Forrest, how about yourself?
You can find me on Twitter at ForrestAguirre. That's ForrestAguirre, spelled just like it sounds. And because I actually read these things called books, I often post to my blog because I do book reviews there. So you can find that at forrestaguirre.blogspot.com. And Jim, you don't have to go there if you don't want to. Just saying it's available. Because you need somebody to read for you by proxy.
Ooh.
Okay.
Ooh, spicy.
So special thanks and credits go out to our shaman of intros, outros, and bumpers, Bob the Voice Brinkman. Our patron AI of audio-visual engineering, Hector the Missile Cruz. Our creative advisor, our Google Plus community, currently XXX strong,
X.
but becoming less XXX strong as each day crawls towards the doom of Google Plus.
We're going to have to find a replacement community.
There is one. It's called Facebook, and Bob the Voice Brinkman and Hector the Missile Cruz are already there, Mark.
There you go. Our intro and outro song is by the group Chronox on the Voyager album, or the album Voyager. The song is called Juno. So, guys, take us out of here. Jim, what do you got?
I'm going to say two things. Die, Rodney, and if you want Mark to join Facebook, let us know.
I'm going to say two things. Why the heck is Google Plus going away? Seriously, what the hell, Google? And I'm never joining Facebook, so good luck with that campaign.
And I just want to say thank you to all of you awesome listeners. It's been great. And lastly, Judge Jim, Judge Mark, ride!
Ariel, Ookla, ride!
Blood of your enemy makes you stronger.
This has been a Hectophonic production. The gun is good, the gun is good, the gun is good, the gun is good, I'm gonna write a post-apocalyptic Philadelphia story where a guy's riding a Wawa hoagie drinking water on his way to the Springfield Mall. Alright? That's what I'm gonna write.